తెలంగాణ ముద్దుబిడ్డ భారతదేశ మాజీ ప్రధాని డాక్టర్ శ్రీ పివి నరసింహారావు గారి స్మారకోపన్యాసానికి విచ్చేసినటువంటి మీ అందరికీ స్వాగతం పలుకుతూ ఈనాటి ఈ కార్యక్రమానికి ముఖ్య అతిథిగా సమైక్య ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్ ప్రధాన కార్యదర్శిగా పనిచేసినటువంటి చీఫ్ సెక్రటరీగా పనిచేసినటువంటి శ్రీ మోహన్ కంద డాక్టర్ మోహన్ కంద ఐఏఎస్ గారికి మనందరి తరపున కార్యక్రమానికి స్వాగతం పలుకుతా ఉన్నాం. వెల్కమ్ యూ సార్. అలాగే ఈనాటి ఈ కార్యక్రమానికి అధ్యక్షత వహించాల్సిందిగా మన విశ్వవిద్యాలయ వైస్ ఛాన్సలర్ ప్రొఫెసర్ కె సీతారామరావు గారిని వేదికపైకి ఆహ్వానిస్తూ ఈనాటి ఈ కార్యక్రమంలో గౌరవ అతిథిగా మన విశ్వవిద్యాలయ అకాడమిక్ డైరెక్టర్ ఇన్ఛార్జ్గా ఉన్నటువంటి ప్రొఫెసర్ ఈ సుధారాణి గారిని కూడా సాదరంగా స్వాగతం పలుకుతాము. అదేవిధంగా పివి గారి కుటుంబ సభ్యులు కూడా ఈ కార్యక్రమానికి వచ్చారు. వాళ్ళకి ఇంకా రావాల్సిన వాళ్ళు కూడా ఉన్నారు. వాళ్ళందరినీ కూడా చివరిలో ఒకసారి రికగ్నైజ్ చేస్తాం సార్. ఈనాటి ఈ కార్యక్రమానికి ముఖ్య అతిథిగా వచ్చేసినటువంటి శ్రీ మోహన్ కంద ఐఏఎస్ గారికి పుష్పగుచ్చంతో స్వాగతం పలకాల్సిందిగా డాక్టర్ పల్లవి కాబ్డే గారిని ఆహ్వానిస్తాం. థ్యాంక్ యూ సార్. థ్యాంక్ యూ వెరీ మచ్. వేదిక పైన ఉన్నటువంటి పెద్దలందరూ మనం పివి నరసింహారావు గారికి పుష్పాంజలి ఘటిస్తూ అదేవిధంగా లైటింగ్ ఆఫ్ ద ల్యాంప్ కార్యక్రమంలో పాల్గొనవలసిందిగా గణేష్ Thank you, sir and madam. Thank you very much. Now I request Professor K. Sitaram-Rao Garu, our Honorable Vice Chancellor, kindly conduct the further proceedings, sir.
సభకు నమస్కారం. వేదిక మీద ఉన్న పెద్దలు, ఈనాటి శ్రీ పివి నరసింహారావు గారి స్మారక ఉపన్యాసం ఇవ్వడానికి వచ్చినటువంటి ప్రధాన వక్త, ముఖ్య అతిథి డాక్టర్ మోహన్ కందా గారు, ఫార్మర్ చీఫ్ సెక్రటరీ ఆఫ్ Government of Andhra Pradesh and also member of the National Disaster Management Authority. వేదిక మీద ఉన్నటువంటి ఇన్ఛార్జ్ డైరెక్టర్ అకాడమిక్ ప్రొఫెసర్ సుధారాణి, సభలో ఉన్నటువంటి సీనియర్ ప్రొఫెసర్స్, అధ్యాపకేతర మిత్రులు, ఈ సమావేశానికి వచ్చినటువంటి పివి నరసింహారావు గారి కుటుంబ సభ్యులు, అదేవిధంగా గౌరవ అతిథిగా రావాల్సిన శ్రీమతి సురభి వాణిదేవి గారు, మా అక్క, రాలేకపోయినరు. ప్రతిసారి వారు వచ్చేది, ఈసారి వారి అబ్సెన్స్ వీఆర్ ఫీలింగ్. సో అందరికీ కూడా మరొకసారి నమస్కారం, స్వాగతం. 2016లో నుంచి నేను మొదటిసారిగా వైస్ ఛాన్సలర్గా అపాయింట్ అయిన దగ్గర నుండి తెలంగాణ వైతాళికుల మెమోరియల్ లెక్చర్ సిరీస్ను ఆర్గనైజ్ చేసుకుంటా ఉన్నాం. దాంట్లో ముఖ్యంగా కాళోజీ నారాయణరావు గారు, పివి నరసింహరావు గారు, జయశంకర్ గారు, ప్రొఫెసర్ రామరెడ్డి గారు, ఇట్లా ప్రొఫెసర్ బషీరుద్దీన్ గారు, డాక్టర్ బిఆర్ అంబేద్కర్ స్మారక ఉపన్యాసం, ఇట్లా చాలా స్మారక ఉపన్యాసాలు, నార్ల వెంకటేశ్వరరావు గారిది ఇద్దరికి ఉన్నది. వీటన్నిటిని కూడా వీటితో పాటు ఇదివరకు ఉన్న వాటితో పాటు ఇంకా కొన్ని అదనంగా చేర్చుకొని ఈ మెమోరియల్ లెక్చర్ సిరీస్ మేము ప్రతి సంవత్సరం నిరంతరంగా కండక్ట్ చేస్తూ ఉన్నాం. దానిలో భాగంగానే ఎక్సెప్ట్ 1 year ఒక కరోనా పీరియడ్లో తప్ప ఈ పివి నరసింహరావు గారి స్మారక ఉపన్యాసాలు ఇప్పటి వరకు 5 నిర్వహించినాం. 5 మొట్టమొదటి ఉపన్యాసం ఇచ్చిన వారు శ్రీ పివిఆర్కే ప్రసాద్ ఐఏఎస్. తర్వాత మళ్ళీ మనకు ఇవాళ డాక్టర్ మోహన్ కందా గారు ఈ ఉపన్యాసం ఇవ్వడానికి రావడం అనేది చాలా సంతోషించాల్సిన ఆనందదాయకమైన విషయం. అటు పివిఆర్కే ప్రసాద్, ఇటు మోహన్ కందా గారు ఇద్దరు కూడా దే ఆర్ మోర్ అకాడమిక్ దాన్ బ్యూరోక్రాటిక్. సివిల్ సర్వీస్ కంటే కూడా వారికి ఈ అకాడమిక్ విషయాలు, ముఖ్యంగా రాయడం, కొత్త విషయాలు నేర్చుకోవడం, చదవడం, చెప్పడం అనేది వారికి మొదటి నుంచి ఆ లక్షణం ఉన్నది. ఆ రకంగా మోహన్ కందా గారు ఈజ్ నాట్ ఓన్లీ వెరీ పాపులర్ రైటర్ అండ్ ఆల్సో ఏ పాపులర్ స్పీకర్. చాలా బాగా మాట్లాడతారు. బాగా మాట్లాడడం ఒక సబ్జెక్టే కాదు, వారి గొంతు కూడా చాలా శ్రావ్యంగా ఉంటుంది. వాయిస్ ఇస్ వెరీ పట్టినట్టు ఉంటుంది అన్నట్టు. మనకి చాలా మంచి వాయిస్. అది మీకు ఒక జ్ఞాపకం నాది ఉంది. 95లో వారు అగ్రికల్చర్ అండ్ రూరల్ డెవలప్మెంట్ సెక్రటరీగా ఉన్నప్పుడు ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్ గవర్నమెంట్లో జనగామ డిగ్రీ కాలేజీలో రూరల్ డెవలప్మెంట్ మీద ఒక సెమినార్ అయింది. వారు చీఫ్ గెస్ట్గా అక్కడికి వచ్చి ఆ సెమినార్ను ఇనాగరేట్ చేయడం జరిగింది. అప్పుడు నేను కాకతీయ యూనివర్సిటీలో లెక్చరర్ ఉంటుంది, మేబీ రీడర్. ఆ సమావేశానికి మేము కూడా పిలిస్తే మేము అంతా పోయినాం. ఆ ఇనాగరల్ స్పీచ్ వారు మాట్లాడిన తీరు, వారు మాట్లాడిన సబ్జెక్టు ఇప్పటికీ నాకు గుర్తున్నది. స్టిల్ ఐ రిమెంబర్ సమ్ పాయింట్స్, ఐ రిమెంబర్. అకాడమిషియన్స్ కూడా తెలియనటువంటి కొత్త పుస్తకాలు ఉన్నటువంటి మీద వారు పరిచయం చేసిండ్రు ఆ సమావేశంలో, తన ఉపన్యాసంలో. రాబర్ట్ చాంబర్స్ అని కొత్తగా ఒక పుస్తకం వచ్చింది రూరల్ డెవలప్మెంట్ మీద. వారు ఆ పుస్తకాన్ని పరిచయం చేస్తూ మాట్లాడి చాలా అటు విద్యార్థులను అటు అధ్యాపకులను చాలా అపురపరిచిన, ఆశ్చర్యపరిచిన విషయం ఇప్పటికీ నాకు గుర్తుంది. ఆ తర్వాత చర్చ జరిగినప్పుడు చర్చలో పాల్గొంటూ ఎవరో ఒక పార్టిసిపెంట్ కామెంట్ చేస్తే, ది ఎంటైర్ బ్యూరోక్రసీ ఈజ్ ది రెస్పాన్సిబుల్ ఫర్ ది ఫెయిల్యూర్ ఆఫ్ రూరల్ డెవలప్మెంట్ ఇన్ రూరల్ ఏరియాస్ అని ఒక కామెంట్, ఒక ప్రశ్న లాగా వేస్తే వారు దానికి చాలా ఇంటెలిజెంట్గా, చాలా క్లేవర్గా, తను నొప్పియకుండా జవాబు చెప్పిర్రు. ఇప్పటికి నాకు గుర్తుంది, చెప్తా మళ్ళీ ఒకసారి మీకు. ఏమన్నారంటే, ఇప్పుడున్న పరిస్థితుల్లో మన దేశంలో ఎవరు చేయాల్సిన పని వాళ్ళు చేయడం లేదా అని. అంత దూరం ఎందుకు, లెజిస్లేటర్స్ వాంటెడ్ టు ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ ది పాలసీస్ అండ్ ప్రోగ్రామ్స్. అంటే రాజకీయ నాయకులు, ప్రజాప్రతినిధులు శాసనాలు చేసే బదులు శాసనాన్ని అమలు చేయడానికి ఎక్కువ ఉత్సాహం చూపుతున్నారు, అమల్లో ఎక్కువ ఇన్వాల్వ్ అవుతున్నారు. ఇంకో జ్యుడిషియల్ ఈ జ్యుడిషియల్ యాక్టివిజం అనే పేరుతోటి వాళ్ళు శాసనాలు చేయడానికి ప్రయత్నం చేస్తున్నారు. ఇక మిగిలింది మేము బ్యూరోక్రాట్స్ సివిల్ సర్వెంట్స్ ఏం చేయాలి, మాకు మిగిలిన ఇది ఒకటే ఉన్నది పాలిటిక్స్, అది మేము చేస్తున్నామని చెప్పాడు. చాలా ఎంత గొప్ప చెప్పిండంటే అప్పటి సిచ్యువేషన్కు చాలా యాప్ట్గా అది సూట్ అయింది, చాలా కరెక్ట్గా జవాబు చెప్పిండ్రు. ఇప్పటికీ ఆ విషయం చాలా మంది గుర్తు ఉండదు, నాకైతే బాగా గుర్తుండిపోయింది. అట్లా వారి నైపుణ్యం, వారి జ్ఞానం, వారు అప్లయింగ్ ది నాలెడ్జ్ టు రియాలిటీ, ఇవన్నీ కూడా చాలా గొప్ప విషయాలు. మన ఆహ్వానాన్ని మన్నించి వెంటనే వారు ఈ ఉపన్యాసం ఇవ్వడానికి ఒప్పుకున్నందుకు మా యూనివర్సిటీతో పాటు మేమందరం కూడా మీకు సర్వదా కృతజ్ఞులం సార్. ఇకపోతే సారు ఎలాగూ మాట్లాడబోతున్నాడు కాబట్టి మాట్లాడే విషయాన్ని నేను చదివినా కాబట్టి వెరీ ఇన్స్పైరింగ్ లెక్చర్ ఈజ్ గోయింగ్ టు గివ్. ఇక తినబోతూ రుచులేందుకు నేను చెప్పదలుచుకోలే విషయాలు చెప్పను. కాబట్టి ఒకటి మాత్రం నేను ఒక విషయం మాత్రం నేను చెప్తా. సారు ఎంచుకున్న టాపిక్ ఏదైతే ఉన్నదో ఎథిక్స్ ఇన్ గవర్నెన్స్, వారు అంతకుముందు దాంట్లో పరిశోధన చేసిండ్రు, పుస్తకం కూడా రాసింది సార్. వారు ఎంచుకున్న టాపిక్ చాలా సంక్లిష్టమైన టాపిక్ ఇది మాట్లాడడానికి. ఎందుకు అంటే ఎథిక్స్, మొరాలిటీ అనే విషయం అనేది అబ్సల్యూట్ కాదు, నిరపేక్షమైన విషయం కాదు, ఇది సాపేక్షమైన విషయం. స్థలకాల సందర్భాలను బట్టి, సమాజాలను బట్టి, అక్కడున్న సంస్కృతి, మిగతా విషయాలను బట్టి కూడా ఈ మొరాలిటీ, ఎథిక్స్ అనేది మారుతూ ఉంటుంది. ఒకప్పుడు సోషల్ ట్యాబు సమాజంతో తిరస్కరించబడ్డది, ఒకనొక పరిస్థితిలో సమాజంతో ఆమోదింపబడ్డ అంశం అవుతుంది కావచ్చు కూడా. ఒకసారి ఆమోదింపబడ్డ విషయం సమాజానికి తిరస్కృతమైన విషయం అవుతుంది. ఆ లెక్కన చూస్తే మనకు ఇది చాలా సంక్లిష్టమైన విషయం మీద వారు చాలా బాగా డీల్ చేసిందని నేను భావిస్తూ ఉన్నా. ఏ సమాజంలోనే ఎప్పుడైనా కానీ చివరిగా ఒక విషయం ఏంటిదంటే, వారి అభిప్రాయం ప్రకారం ఎవరికైనా మనం ఇతరులకు పెయిన్ కలిగించే విధంగా ప్రవర్తించడం అనేది పెద్ద సిన్, అంతకంటే పాపం ఇంకోట్లేదు. అదేవిధంగా ఒకరి సంతోషం కలిగే పని కనుక చేస్తే అంతకంటే పుణ్యం లేదు, అంతకంటే సుగుణం లేదు అని వారు ఒక చోట అనడం జరిగింది. అయితే మరి ఎథిక్స్, మొరాలిటీని ఎట్లా డిసైడ్ చేయాలి? గవర్నెన్స్, పరిపాలన రంగంలో పరిపాలకులకు కానీ, అధికారులకు కానీ, పరిపాలనలో ఇన్వాల్వ్ అవుతున్న శాసనకర్తలకు కానీ ఎట్లా, వాట్ ఈస్ ది క్రైటీరియా, వాట్ ఈస్ ది మెజర్మెంట్ ఫర్ ది డిసైడింగ్ ది మొరాలిటీ అండ్ ఎథిక్స్ అని ఆలోచిస్తే, మీకు తెలుసు 1970s, 80s సార్ కూడా తెలుసు, ఇందిరాగాంధీ గారు ప్రైమ్ మినిస్టర్గా ఉన్నప్పుడు కమిటెడ్ సివిల్ సర్వీస్ మీద పెద్ద చర్చ జరిగింది. సివిల్ సర్వీస్ మనం పబ్లిక్ అడ్మినిస్ట్రేషన్లో పాఠం చదువుకుంటాం, న్యూట్రాలిటీ ఆఫ్ ది సివిల్ సర్వీస్ అని. తటస్థంగా ఉండాలన్నా, నిబద్ధత ఉండాలన్నా, నిబద్ధత కలిగిన ఉద్యోగి స్వామ్యం అవసరమా, లేక తటస్థంతో ఉండే ఉద్యోగి స్వామ్యం అవసరమా అనే చర్చ మీద, కమిటెడ్ సివిల్ సర్వీస్ మీద ఇందిరాగాంధీ అంటుండేది, ఐ వాంట్ కమిటెడ్ సివిల్ సర్వీస్ టు ఇంప్లిమెంట్ ది డెవలప్మెంట్ అనే మాట అంటుండేది. మరి కమిట్మెంట్ టు వాట్? నిబద్ధత ఎవరికి, దేనికి? అంటే నిబద్ధత అనేది అధికారంలో ఉన్న పార్టీకో, మీకు ఇష్టం ఉన్న నాయకులకో కమిట్మెంట్ కాదు బాబు. కమిట్మెంట్ ఎవరికి ఉండాలంటే కమిట్మెంట్ టువర్డ్స్ ది కోర్ వాల్యూస్ ఆఫ్ ది కాన్స్టిట్యూషన్. రాజ్యాంగానికి సంబంధించిన మౌలిక విలువల పట్ల ఉద్యోగస్తులు కానీ, అధికారులు కానీ, రాజకీయ నాయకులు కానీ, న్యాయవేత్తలు కానీ, న్యాయమూర్తులు కానీ, ఎవరినైతే రాజ్యాంగాన్ని మనం అత్యంత పవిత్రమైన లా ఆఫ్ ది ల్యాండ్గా భావించి మనం దాన్ని అమలు చేయడానికి సిద్ధపడ్డామో, దానిలో ఉన్నటువంటి కోర్ వాల్యూస్కు నిబద్ధత కలిగి ఉండడమే మొరాలిటీ, ఎథిక్స్ అని నా అభిప్రాయం. కాబట్టి ఇదే విధంగా డాక్టర్ బిఆర్ అంబేద్కర్ గారు కూడా మనకు రాజ్యాంగాన్ని మనకు ఇచ్చినప్పుడు కాన్స్టిట్యూషనలిజం ఈజ్ ది బేస్. రాజ్యాంగం విలువల పట్ల నిబద్ధత లేకుండా ఏ అధికారి పనిచేసినా కానీ రాజ్యాంగానికి ద్రోహం చేసినట్టే అని వారు చాలాసార్లు కూడా చెప్పడం జరిగింది. కాబట్టి ఇంతకంటే ఎక్కువ మాట్లాడితే కూడా బాగుండదు, ఎందుకంటే మనం చాలా గొప్ప ఉపన్యాసాన్ని వినబోతున్నాం. కాబట్టి నాకు మరొకసారి మోహన్ కంద గారికి నా ప్రత్యేకమైన కృతజ్ఞతలు, ధన్యవాదాలు తెలియజేస్తూ ఈ అవకాశం ఇచ్చినందుకు, మీరు ఓపిక విన్నందుకు నాకు మరొకసారి మీ అందరికీ కూడా ధన్యవాదాలు, కృతజ్ఞతలు. థ్యాంక్ యూ వెరీ మచ్. థ్యాంక్ యూ వన్స్ అగైన్. Now I request Professor Sudharani to introduce about the program and about the chief guest. No problem.
Respected Vice Chancellor of our University, Professor Sitaram Rao garu, our esteemed chief guest, Sri Mohan Kanda garu, and the Mohan Kanda IAS garu, and directors of all the branches, senior professors, and the faculty and deans of the faculties, and all the faculty members, teaching and non-teaching members, my dear student friends. So today, a hearty welcome. I join our Vice Chancellor in welcoming you to this very important and prestigious P.V. Narasimha Rao Memorial Lecture, which is the 6th in series. And we missed Madam Surabhi Devi Madam because she used to come for each and every program and bless us in several ways. And I also welcome the respectful family of P.V. Narasimha Rao garu, and for their presence here with us, sir. Thank you so much for being with us today. We are going to remember every time the very illustrious personality and the great leader, statesman, intellectual, P.V. Narasimha Rao garu, a soulful personality who led the entire India into a great economic path. Because when he took over the clutches of the government, the India was in debt. So he was a person who initiated the several economic reforms. And coming from a very humble background from Karimnagar, Bangara, a village and an agricultural family, and rising to the highest level is something which we need to cherish. Coming from Telangana, being a Usmania student who led the movement, Vande Mataram movement, and he is a person who took lead in this movement, and he completed his graduation, though he was debarred from the Usmania. He went to Nagpur and completed his graduation. Most of the education was done in Mumbai, the Ferguson College, and then Nagpur and other places. And this, a person, unique personality of P.V. Narasimha Rao is, he's a proficient in 8 Indian languages, including Oriya, Urdu, and Telugu, Tamil, Kannada, and other languages, and 8 foreign languages, Persian and French and Latin and Greek, Spanish, Arabic. So several languages he is proficient in. And at the age of 19, he started the Kartiya Journal along with P. Sadasiva Rao. And under the pen name, he used to write the articles Jaya Vijaya. So this, starting from his student days and coming all the way from the Telangana remotest place, and then rising up to as a politician, AICC secretary in 51, and chief minister of Andhra Pradesh in 57. And again, taking up several portfolios of home and education, external affairs later, defense. So this HRD, he's not even a single portfolio left like that, he has not taken life. All the, that is one side, and as a prime minister for 5 years is another. So this multifaceted personality and the great intellectual of India, the greatest son of India, Telangana is remembering very well, and even India is also remembering by erecting a memorial in his name. after the death, after 10 years of his death. So we are today, like, we remember P.V. Narasimha. Yeah, he used to uphold happiness as a basic need. And also, he used to say that we must have a clear idea of what we wish to achieve and also methods by which we should achieve. So he emphasized on the ideas as well as the methods to achieve this thing. That's how he remained in history as the greatest administrator and the leader, political leader. So with this brief introduction about this thing, and we have conducted 5 lectures, starting from, as Vice Chancellor rightly said, P.V.R.B. Prasad Garu. He spoke on P.V. Narasimha Rao and his contribution to the nation in 2017. And the second lecture was M. Satyanarayan Rao Garu, who spoke on politics and land reforms and legislation AP, that is 2018. And the third was Dr. Vinay Sitapati, political scientist. He spoke on P.V. Narasimha Rao and Congress Party in 2019. And Professor C.S.R. Murthy Garu, School of International Studies, JNU, who spoke on P.V.'s views on world problems at UN in 2021. And the fifth was, last year's lecture was given by Professor Srikanth Kondapalli, Dean, School of International Studies, JNU, New Delhi, who spoke on border clashes and Indian-China relations in 2022. So today we are going to listen to the most eloquent speaker, Dr. Mohan Kanda Garu, is member of National Disaster Management Authority. Sir is going to talk about ethics in government. Before we listen to his lecture, I would like to introduce briefly about the most multifaceted and illustrious career of Mohan Kanda Garu and his resume. So it is my pleasant privilege to introduce Dr. Mohan Kanda Garu. He holds a PhD in Doctorate in Corporate Agriculture Credit. He became IAS in 1968, Andhra Pradesh cadre, and he's retired as a Chief Secretary to the government of Andhra Pradesh. He served several years during the tenure of the different governments. He was formerly the Secretary, Agriculture Cooperation, Department of Agriculture Cooperation, Minister of Agriculture, Government of India. He was a former Chief Secretary, Government of Andhra Pradesh, and former member of the National Disaster Management Authority, NDMA, with a ranking status of a Union Minister of State in Government of India. He also served as a member of the steering committee for the agriculture and allied sectors of the Planning Commission for the formulation of the 12th 5-year plan. He was a member, Board of Supervision, National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development, NABARD. He was a visiting professor at Center for Atmospheric Studies, Indian Institute of Technology, Delhi, IIT. Adjunct faculty in the Indo-German Center for Sustainability, Department of Humanities and Social Science, IIT Chennai. And currently the member of the governing body of Centurion University of Technology and Management, Palakamandi, Odisha. And independent director, IPSCO, Kisan SEZ Nellore, Andhra Pradesh. He is a trustee, Durgabai Deshmukh Mahila Sabha, Andhra Mahila Sabha, Trust Board, Andhra Mahila Sabha, a chairman, Asha Power Corporation. And sir is the author of several books. Some of them I'll just read out for you. The Punctured Canvas, the Concept, Practice, Strategies in Rural Development. Second one is Vasantara, an anthology of land resources in India. Forgiving Earth, the dynamics of policy support reforms for the Millennium Formal in the Asia-Pacific region. Another one is Not by Others' Hands, an anthology of a century of credit cooperatives in India, tribute to the cooperative movement in International Year of Cooperation 2012. And sir, I'm also ardent admirer of Durgabai Deshmukh. And I did my research on Durgabai Deshmukh life and contributions in Telangana and Andhra regions and Madras also as a part of my MPhil in JP. So thank you so much, sir, for being with us today in the morning with your very apt topic, ethics in governance, which is the talk of the day. And with his word only, I'll just conclude. Sagacity, wisdom are important attributes that leaders and administrators of the country today needs to possess, and fulfilling the hopes and aspirations of the people with whose help they got elected to the governance. So with this, I thank once again our chief guest to be with us, and thank you so much for all your patience. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sudharani. Now I request our Honorable Chief Guest, Dr. Mohan Kanda ji, to deliver his few minutes of our memorial lecture.
Namaskaram. With your permission, I will speak in English. The tradition in Telangana, particularly among the Muslims, before you begin something, you say Bismillah. And I will request you to switch on the cell phones, because they can be disturbing. Then I remember long ago, I had a classmate called Shatrughna. The professor had come all the way from Harvard University to deliver a lecture on the fundamental particles of physics. Now, suddenly, as he was starting, somebody got up and said, "Sir, don't make it very technical. The audience is full of laymen." Now, Harvard University professor can't change his lecture, in a few minutes. He prepares for it for months together. So he made a very desperate attempt and finally made a hash of it and said something or the other. Finally, Shatrughna got up for a vote of thanks and said, "Sir, thank you very much. Instead of giving us a lecture on the fundamental particles of physics, you have given us a fundamental lecture on the particles of physics." So, one way or the other, I think about P.V. Narasimha Rao, Sudharani Garu has more or less finished what I wanted to say. About ethics in governance, Sita Ramaya Garu has finished the rest. This is practically become redundant, but I'll make an effort to go through with it to the extent possible. Now, first thing, my mother used to tell me a proverb in Telugu, with apologies to those who can't follow Telugu. When మీ ఇంట్లో టిఫిన్ ఏం చేశారంటే ఇవాళ మేము తినేసామంటే మీరేం చేశారన్నట్టు. అలాగా నేను చెప్పబోయిందంటే అయిపోయింది, ఇంకా మిగిలిందేనమ్మా నేను మేకనట్టు. Now, see, ethics is a concept, as Sitaramaya was mentioning. It is a very highly volatile and susceptible to change kind of subject. Over time, over space, over cultures, over races, it changes. Like, for instance, in Andhra Pradesh itself, once upon a time, drinking was a crime. Today, it is perfectly legal. At the same time, when the prohibition was there in Andhra Pradesh, if you crossed over to Karnataka, you are a law-abiding citizen. But if you came to Andhra, you are a criminal. So, we cannot have a hard and fast kind of definition of ethics as a subject. And but on the other hand, some things the whole world has accepted all the time, right from the beginning of history, as right and wrong. Now, respect for elders. No religion says that you should not have. Or committing murder or rape. No religion will approve of such a thing. But there are other things, like say polygamy. In Muslims, it's perfectly all right. But like say abortion, the Catholics say it's a crime. But in India, the law permits it. So we have to be cautious of this characteristic of ethics. And as I said, he has already quoted me. See, I have always believed that to cause pain to a human being is the worst possible sin. And to bring a smile to a person's lips is the best possible virtue. Now, this is, I think, a simplest rule which we should follow. And now, of course, things have changed so much. Supreme Court has said even transgender persons have rights. And living parents' children have also got rights. These are not allowed some time ago. So, what is good for some people, for some time, at some place, need not be the same elsewhere. Now, my interest in all this started because Padmanabhai Garu, who was our Union Home Secretary and now chairman of the Staff College, asked me to lecture to some young people who were preparing for the civil services examinations. Ethics had just been introduced as a subject in UPSC, which was a good thing. Finally, Government of India discovered that ethics and public administration are connected with each other. Although they promptly forgot again after that. That's a separate issue. But at least they introduced the subject. So then I started gathering information. Then I found that it is necessary to put it in one place. So I wrote a book called Ethics and Governance, meant for these children. Now, a brief introduction. And not that you don't know about Mr. Narasimha Rao at all. Everything is there on all. You only have to Google it. But some of my own personal, experiences with him. Abdul Kalam described Mr. Narasimha Rao as the patriotic statesman who believed that the nation is bigger than the political system. That the country, the state, is much more than the executive, the judiciary, and the legislature. And I was sub-collector at Ongole first when he came there as chief minister. He spent a few days and went away. And that was when I first came to know him. Then, as been mentioned earlier, as HRD minister, external affairs minister, as home minister, as several portfolios he held with distinction. And also, most well-known he was for dismantling the permit and license Raj system during Dr. Manmohan Singh's tenure. Then, he also broke many conventions. He sent Atal Bihari Vajpayee, the leader of the opposition, actually BJP party at that time, as a leader of the team to the United Nations. With the result, he achieved two things. He did a personal favor to a good friend. They were very good friends. He also did a great favor to the country because no more qualified person could have led that delegation. On the other hand, he silenced the opposition by sending their leader as the leader of the delegation. That was a brilliant stroke of diplomatic genius also. Such was his, statesmanship. Then my own experience, I was Mr. Janardhan Reddy's office as chief minister. I was a secretary in his office. Mr. Narasimha Rao had come to Hyderabad and we all had gone to the airport to see him off. Governor, chief minister, chief justice, everybody was there. Now I am by nature a little withdrawn and aloof in matters of publicity, unless it comes to me by force. So I was standing far away near the tail of the aircraft. Suddenly, he stopped before getting into the aircraft, looked at me and said, Mohan, Bhavanava, and went in. Now, I just didn't know what happened. I had not known him. I had never met him. As sub-collector long ago, I had spent a few minutes. My parents may have known him. That night, Janardhan Reddy, the chief minister, very thoughtfully started saying this. My prime minister knows some people very closely. I said, sir, I don't know him at all. I don't know why he did what he did. Fine. After a few years, Janardhan Reddy stepped down under some unfortunate circumstances. Vijay Bhaskar Reddy took over. Vijay Bhaskar Reddy Garu was initially a little suspicious because I was close to Janardhan Reddy. Then Narasimha Rao Garu came to Nandyal to inaugurate an exhibition which I had set up as Agriculture Secretary. Again, the helicopter landed. Again, I was standing far away near my exhibition, nowhere near the helicopter. They started walking towards the exhibition. Suddenly, he stopped again, looked at me and said, Mohan Bhavanava, and then went away. Now, I didn't know why he did that at all. Then I asked some good friend of his, Venu Madhav, the great mimicry artist. I said, why does he do this? He said, no. He wants to tell the new chief minister also that you are close to him, so that you are safe. Finished. All he said was, how are you? That's all. But then that was his greatness. So I feel terribly obliged to him because of that. And of course, you all know about his qualities. One of his greatest qualities was his silence. He was basically an uncommunicated kind of person. He wouldn't, volunteer opinions and all that. In fact, Keats, the great poet, said, heard melodies are sweet, those unheard are sweeter. In Narasimha Rao's case, I think the words he spoke were wise. The words he did not speak were even wiser. That was, his greatness. And when I was additional secretary in rural development in the BJP ministry, Venkaiah Naidu was my minister. And Narasimha Rao Garu sent word to the Prime Minister saying that I want somebody to help me to identify the most 100 backward districts in the country. Then the Prime Minister sent word to Venkaiah Naidu. Venkaiah Naidu asked me. I said, of course, by all means. So I was sent to help him. And he was working for Ramananda Tirtha Mission at that time, and NIRD, there was a workshop. At that time, I moved very closely with him. And then for a few weeks, then I came to know many, many great qualities about him, and his maturity, his wisdom, and his erudition. Like she was saying, 8 languages and all, from the Upanishads to the Bible to the Quran to whatever, there was nothing he did not know. And unfortunately, when the end came, it was not to anybody's satisfaction. The government of India very rudely turned down a request that there should be memorial in Delhi on par with the other people like Nehru or Gandhi. And then I was there, Chief Secretary, standing there as the funeral pyre was burning. And luckily, and hats off to the present Telangana government, they have erected a wonderful monument to him, and I'm very grateful to them for that. Now, to today's subject, one thing I share in all fora like this is the fact that I'm a very proud and happy Indian citizen. There are many reasons for that. One, the only country in history ever to have achieved independence without bloodshed. Hello, how are you? Then, because ahimsa and non-violence have never been successful in any country in the world, from the United States to Sudan recently. Bloodshed, war, conflict invariably preceded independence. That was a great thing. Then the Green Revolution. We were living, when 1960s, the country was called a ship-to-mouth country. Until the PL-480 ship came and discharged the food grain, we didn't have enough to eat. But today we have enough to export, thanks to people like Swaminathan, M.V. Rao from Andhra Pradesh, and then Kurian, etc. We've had Blue Revolution, Yellow Revolution, White Revolution, Green Revolution, you name it. Then our institutions, our Supreme Court, our Public Service Commission, till today, 75 years, and not a single complaint. It's remarkable. Then our Election Commission, one-man session, turned it to conduct elections for a country with 1.3 billion people is not a joke. And to conduct them repeatedly and fairly, impartially, not easy at all. But we've been doing it. But of course, every government, all the time, including the present one, have always been trying to gnaw away at the essentials of these institutions, to make the Supreme Court weak, to make this Election Commission, under their control. But luckily, they have not succeeded. Then, what have we not done? We have done M.S. Subbulakshmi, Sachin Tendulkar, Neha Dhupia, C.V. Raman, you name it, science, technology, and Mangalyaan, Antarctica. We have done everything. But all these are great achievements. Our agriculture, for instance, or ICR and its institutions, and or IIMs or IITs, their reasons for great pride. But that's not the end of the story. Look at the other side. As I am talking to you, in Hyderabad city today, children are being sold as if they are, pakodis or something like that. And women are being killed in the name of honor in some parts of our country. And I'm not born in Hyderabad city, but my heart belongs here. And I know Zoroastrian, Parsis, Muslims, Christians, Jains, Buddhists, Hindus, Tamilians, Punjabis, Gujaratis, you name it, the whole world lives in Hyderabad city and in perfect harmony and in peace with each other for centuries. And suddenly in this country, we find this specter of intolerance cropping up. How does it matter to you whether somebody eats beef or somebody, has long ago, one temple was a mosque. So we want to be, one community wants to make it back into a mosque, another one fights saying it will be a temple. So when did all these things start and why? This is something which makes me feel very bad. So there are many other things which, even till today, drinking water is not available to some people. And farmers are committing suicides. So is this the country which we wanted? So sometimes when I go abroad, I have to hang my head in shame when they say, are you an Indian? Because all the other things made me feel happy, but these things make me feel very, very sad. And that's why United Nations continues to rank India at some 138 out of 195 countries in the Human Development Index ranking, which is very sad. 75, we are talking about Azadi Ka, Amrit Kaal and all that. and shouting from rooftops about all we have achieved. But you just go outside here and see, you will see how many beggars with their plates. I go to Nizam Club every day in the evening. When I stop near that Hanuman temple in near that AC guards, people are literally there with begging bowls. What a shame it is for anybody to be shown. No, therefore there is as much to be done as has been done in our country, and we have a great task ahead of us. And mostly the malaise of corruption, that is something which is haunting our country even today, and from the highest levels to the lowest. In fact, there's a joke about a Tahsildar who was supposed to be a very honest man. So I believe one man said, I want to suspend him, he's not doing his work. I believe he said, look, he's such an honest man, why do you want to suspend him? I believe he said, no, but his entire salary is illegal gratification. He does no work. Because I don't mind, if you're honest, at least do your service. No, you're being given a salary, do something in return. I don't mind a corrupt and inefficient man to an honest man who does nothing at all. So such things we have not been able to learn. And even in the realm of foreign affairs, Narasimha Rao, one of our most distinguished and successful foreign ministers, Oscar Wilde said of Dr. Bernard Shaw that Mr. Shaw has no enemies, but all his friends dislike him. So what is the difference? I don't understand. So everybody says non-aligned India, great future for the whole world, beacon light, etc. Who likes you? I would like to know. Sri Lanka, Nepal, Bhutan, Pakistan, China, Maldives? No. ASEAN countries, Philippines, Indonesia, Vietnam? No. Okay, Africa, you go to Nigeria, Uganda, India? No. Then even with America and Russia, the so-called non-aligned thing has made sure that we get nothing from either side. So, ఇంటగలిసి రచ్చగలిసి అంటారు కదా తెలుగులో, ఇక్కడ గెలవలేదు అక్కడ గెలవలేదు ఇప్పటిదాకా మరి. So what is all these tall claims we are making about the progress country has made? So it is time to stop and think, what are our fundamentals? Now, all right, cricket should be played. Arctic is important. Climbing the Mount Everest is important. IITs, IIMs are important. All these are important. What about Hyderabad children being sold? What about women being killed? Farmers committing suicide? What is more important? So, if after all, ours is a country where we are fairly disciplined. When the Prime Minister said Swachh Bharat, all of us took cheap brooms in our hands and swept the streets. So if we are all told, don't do anything for 5 years unless these 4 or 5 problems are solved, well, country will do it. But the politician and the senior civil servant should have the sagacity to say, this is the only thing that should be done, don't do anything else. And the people at the top should say, don't come to me to discuss anything unless it concerns these 5 priorities. So, priorities and options, these are the things that are very, very important. And finally, Alexander Pope said, for forms of government, let fools contest. That government is best which governs the best. So I don't mind autocracy, democracy, theocracy, whatever, dictatorship, etc. Are they delivering the goods and services? Because as Dr. Abdul Kalam once told me, I met him in a stage like this, and I had already met him as member of the National Disaster Management Authority. So when he looked at me, and he knew me as Chief Secretary of Andhra Pradesh when he used to come from Delhi as President, he said, Mohan, what are you doing? I said, sir, you know me, I'm Mohan Kanda. I'm in the National Disaster Management. I said, no. I know your name, I know your IAS, I know your NDMA, I know your membership. I want to know, last 1 month, last 1 week, yesterday, today, before coming to this function, have you achieved something? Tell me, kaam ki baat karo. So that is the thing that lacking in our country. Full of exhibitions and, lots of publicity, etc., and paper advertisements, etc. But where are the fundamental parameters? FDA, your HDA index is 138. Who are you trying to fool? So I think it is time we learn to get our fundamentals together and stop window dressing our achievements and look at the fundamentals. So, well, as in his characteristic fashion, he already covered what I want to tell you. A certain amount of Lakshmana Rekha crossing is taking place in India, which is desirable. Originally, we borrowed the concept of, separation of powers from the US Constitution. So, but today, Parliament is striking down judgments of Supreme Court effectively by bringing in new laws. And Supreme Court is making laws. It is going even to the extent of saying that, as I said, transgender persons shall have rights. That, in fact, in the Keshavananda Bharati case, it said fundamental rights cannot be amended by Parliament, which is something that can be done only by a Constituent Assembly. So, Supreme Court has even amended our Constitution, but we have accepted it. We have not contested it because we know that it's part of the process of growing up. Our country is maturing. Only thing is, we should not mature suddenly and violently, which is what we did. Every bad thing, child marriage, widow remarriage, zamindari abolition, princely estate, everything that was bad before independence, overnight was taken away. So it was like, when a person is fasting, when after 50 days of fasting, when he wants to start again, you give him a glass of lemon juice because he can't digest a big meal. But in India, we gave him biryani, ice cream, soup, etc. suddenly overnight. So naturally, there's a little bit of indigestion. Now that effects are showing, but it will settle down. This is like, when water boils. Initially, water is very smooth, but when it boils, it becomes steam. In between, there's a lot of gadbad, there's a lot of chaos. But then when it becomes steam, again it is stable. So we will become stable again. It will take time. We should be patient, but we should not be negligent because we must wait. We have to boil the water to reach that stage. And see, the transition from one stage, already twice it has happened. Independence was a watershed in our history. That liberalization, privatization, globalization was another watershed. We have overcome both and very successfully. And Mahalanavis and Nehru dreamt of a country of growth with justice. Then we realized in the 1990s that growth with justice will not happen. It's a, Varna Sankara, or maybe it's a Dushta Sandhi anta, that won't. It won't happen. So what we chose was growth and justice. Let growth happen. Let Ambanis, Birlas, Tatas, they prosper. Let them bring factories and infrastructure, etc. But that will cause a lot of suffering. Deal with that suffering separately. What is called a safety net. So we went to World Bank, got a structural adjustment loan and all that. Now, before I come to the end of my lecture, good governance has become a very buzzword in recent times because of the reasons which I mentioned. From medieval India, we've always had good governance, and even Puranas, Ramarajyam itself was, a sort of description of what an ideal government should be, governance should be. And then we've had it even then. Mahabharata also taught you so many things about how governance should be. And then medieval India, we had people like Akbar, Prithviraj Chauhan, Sher Shah Suri, land reforms, and methodical systems. The whole idea was to deliver goods and services to the citizen in such a way that ethics informed the approaches. That has always been there. And as modern world is emerging in the in the present century, for instance, we are discovering new challenges. So, for instance, carbon sequestration. The rich countries like USA and Sweden will tell you, don't pollute the atmosphere. They continue to pollute the atmosphere, but they tell you not to do it. But we all know that pollution and development go together. You cannot develop without polluting the environment. They have developed so much that they can afford to stop. But if they tell you to stop, how will you develop? Now, this is another ethical dilemma which the whole world is now beginning to learn to face. Now, they've got things like carbon credits and exchanges and things like that. So, as I said, not only old values are not rigid over time and space, but new things are emerging, like transgender and living parents and carbon sequestration, which we did not know about 50 years ago. So, we have to keep an open mind. As Rabindranath Tagore said, light coming from all directions, then only we'll be able to handle this difficulty. And in my own case, for instance, when Central Bureau of Investigation was conducting an investigation into a former chief minister's, all of you know about that case, of course. So I read in the papers one morning that I was to be also asked to help them. So I offered, I rang them up and said, I'd like to come. They said, no, sir, we'll come to you. I said, no, records are with you, I'll come. So I went there. After some time, in one case, they asked me, is this not a favor to this person? I said, you're asking me the wrong question. No? Every decision is a favor. The question you want to ask me, which you are not able to formulate is, were you influenced by for doing this favor? Or were you threatened? Did you do it because your chief minister said you must do it and you are afraid of disobeying him? Or did you do it because they offered you money or something like that? Then the answer to that is no. But favors, every decision of the government is a favor. So I said, but was there any pressure on this matter? I said, every matter there is pressure. What you want to ask me is, have you succumbed to that pressure? The answer is no. But pressure like the in fact, in Secretariat, the pressure comes first and the file comes later. That is, all of us know that. So, even our enforcement people don't seem to know, in the Just Minister, in the serial, he keeps telling you that you must have the right questions to ask. Answers all of us have. So, it is the ability to question. Isaac Newton questioned nature. Why does an apple fall? Then in nature answered him, saying gravity. So, even Prakriti will give you answers only if you ask the right questions. So many people were there before Newton, no one knew. Einstein, until he came, no one knew what questions to ask. So, questions, formulating questions is the sign of intellect and of morality. So, it is also then. Finally, those of us, teachers, doctors, lawyers, chartered accountants, voluntary workers, etc., at least one of them is in jail today in the country. What will the public think of us? Kanchaye chenu meste antaru Telugulo, and there's a Latin proverb, who will guard the guardians? So those of us who have risen to some eminence in society and have been entrusted with the responsibility to become role models for others, at least we should stay above the temptation and fear, two enemies, temptation and fear. No need, nothing at all. Now, when I joined service, my salary was 300 rupees. Today, my pension is 1 lakh. So why should I worry about anything else? And even when I was with the two chief ministers that I worked with, or even when I sat with the highest people in the country, I never felt that there was any difference between the driver of my car or the prime minister of the country. Both are public servants. They have different duties to perform, that's all. You have your own place in this entire system. Respect it and be proud of it. If in the morning when you wake up and look in the mirror, if you don't like your own face, how do you go out and tell other people what to do? So you need not be proud or egotistical, but you must respect what God has made you and be prepared to give something to others. That's what I keep saying. So, as when some unfortunate thing happened in the Krishna Pushkarams, I offered to go on leave. Then Mr. Rajshekhar Reddy said, why are you taking responsibility? Nothing to do with you. I said, no, it's not like that. Caesar's wife, Caesar said, my wife should also be above suspicion. And she should appear to be above suspicion. So it's not that I've done anything, but public should know that we have a feeling that if something goes wrong, we will accept not responsibility, but we'll accept accountability. Because it is my subordinate under my control, because of whom this has happened. So obviously, this is ethics in business is not going to be a very easy thing to do, but we'll have to try and do. And Sitaram Rao was saying, that also was something I hope I would be able to say, but he took away my words. Our only commitment as a public servant in this, because we must realize those two words, we are not government officials, we are public servants. Our salary is paid by the common man. Once you learn that, the kick you get out of the feeling, no chief minister, no chief secretary, no chief justice, no speaker of the Lok Sabha, nothing. Only the Constitution of India matters. Once you know that, the pride and happiness you feel will guide you in the right way. As the Bible says, when in doubt, shut your eyes, ask yourself, what should I do? The still small voice, the Bible calls it, your conscience, it will tell you what to do. That is it. And finally, I'm sure many of you have heard of Rajnikant Rao, a famous bard of the Telugu people. He passed away a few years ago in Vijayawada. I was there for his 100th birthday. He wrote a lovely song In that one stanza, I can never forget. It says, Omkara Parivrittam Viswam, that the universe is circumscribed by the energy of the Omkara. Energy is light, heat, electricity, all are interconvertible forms of energy. And all of us know that in CERN, in Switzerland, recently, they discovered what is called the God's particle, the gravitational waves, boson, Higgs boson as it is called. It shows that the universe is expanding, and at the edge of the universe, there are ripples in space-time. That is energy. Omkara Parivrittam Viswam, Sankalpa Parivrittam Drishyam. All of us will become what we want to become. Thank you.
So, thank you very much, sir. Very thought-provoking, insightful views on ethics in governance. Sir, for time being, I reserve my questions and closing remarks. And if you permit, we will open the for small clarifications and doubts. And I request.
Not only question, they are free to give me answers also.
Yeah.
You know, because there are so many things I do not know.
Yeah.
Tell me something I do not know.
So, once again, we are very thankful to you, sir, for your openness. These are open university. So, you not only wanted to clarify the doubts expressed by the audience, and you seek answers also to certain things from audience. So, thank you very much. Now, I request anybody is interested to ask questions. Sandehalu, Abhiprayalu, comments ఇంకెవరు ఉంటే కూడా మాట్లాడవచ్చు. ఇంకా మీకు తోచిన విషయాలు కూడా చెప్తే కొంచెం సభ లైవ్లీగా ఉంటుంది. ఇంకా టైం ఉంది సార్, ఎర్లీ కంప్లీషన్ కాబట్టి
I had to mention during my thing. Sahil Ludhianvi, the famous poet, said, talking about bureaucrats and teachers and academicians and businessmen, all of us, why we should remain above those two enemies of integrity, fear and expectation. He said, "Ahle dil hai hum, chashme karam se bhi beliyas." That means even the person who is prepared to do favors to you, don't listen to him. Because there is no temptation in you. నేను చేసి పెడతానయ్యా అంటాడు, నా పని చేయమంటాడు. No, don't do that. Similarly, suspension, transfer, withholding of no, as I told you, from 300 to 1 lakh, what more can I want to? So, in fact, there is a story about Alexander the Great. After conquering the whole world, he came and fell at the feet of his guru, Diogenes, and said, "What can I give you?" I believe Diogenes told him, "You are standing in the way of the sun, just move on." Because what can a great man like Diogenes want? He only said, "I don't want anything from you, but I'm feeling cold, so don't stand in the way of the sun." So we should also be happy with what we are. Okay, this is the idea.
So, yeah. You can start. You raise your hand and before asking question, introduce yourself and ask questions.
No, my voice is.
Good afternoon, sir. Myself, Dr. Panil Kavde. I am currently heading Department of Public Administration in Dr. University, sir. Sir, as we see, there are orientation programs for civil servants and government officials at different training institutes on ethics in government.
Public servants, not government.
Public servants. So, in spite of that, still we see many unethical practices of the corruption going on. So, what do you suggest like, besides the correlation programming, what can be done to invite this ethical concerns in the public service?
Start a course on ethics in public administration. Honestly, I'm not joking.
Exactly.
In fact, I think the time has come that the government of India should have a department of ethics.
Yes.
No, and that department should guide professional ethics agencies like the Institute of Chartered Accountants, the Bar Council, the Indian Medical Association, They all do a good job, but they also need to be, so public administration is a subject which should really guide these professional agencies about how to do a problem. So start a course in ethics in public.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, 1 minute. So thank you very much, sir. However, we are reorganizing our syllabus for MA Public Administration. We are semesterizing our PG program. And we are also planning to start a diploma course in governance. So in that, definitely, we try to incorporate one course on ethics in governance. For that, we take your advice also.
More governance and less governmental.
Yeah, governance and government.
Sir, I heard you, sir. What a wonderful way of putting things before the public to think the crux or the gist that you have spoken. How do we balance national security bonds versus human security needs? జాతీయ భద్రత సంబంధించి మానవ భద్రతకి సంబంధించి ఒక థిన్ లైన్ లో మీరు both are extremely important. The rulers of the day or the government at the helm of affairs must balance both vidya, vaidyam, arogyam, paryavarana, పేదరిక నిర్మూలన ఎంత ఇంపార్టెంట్, దేశ భద్రత, బోర్డర్ సెక్యూరిటీ కూడా అంతే ఇంపార్టెంట్ అనే ఒక విజ్ఞత, ఒక డిస్కషన్ పాటించాలని మీరు ఇప్పుడు మీరు దాంట్లో చూడటం చాలా అద్భుతమైన పాయింట్ సార్. ఐ థింక్ ఫర్ యంగ్స్టర్స్ is important, very, very important. And as I have been...
Ganesh, you and I are old friends. Let some strangers speak.
So, I completely agree with Professor Sitaram sir. Ethics in governance is the need of the hour, sir. We congratulate you on that, sir. So, thank you very much, sir. I am Dr. Ramesh Kanagati, Founder Executive Director, Center for Human Security Studies. The think tank on internal security, external management. Thank you, sir.
So, good morning. This is Professor Anand Pawar, Dean Faculty of Commerce. We have business ethics and corporate governance as one of the subjects in our management program. Of course, I have read here and there, and I found a model. We call it, it is a model developed by autocrats like you people. Should be done, must be done, and can be done. So it is in this three dimension of doing things by public servants where ethics stands more or less, so that we can be able to understand and see that this can be used. This is my point. Thank you, sir.
Wonderful.
తెలుగులో కూడా అడగొచ్చు నిర్భయంగా.
Want to take the question?
A person like me once went to a village, and when you go to a marriage or to a function, you should never go early. Going late is okay. People will wait, they may feel angry. But if you go early, they won't be prepared. They won't be ready for you. This man went too early. So, utter confusion. So, somehow they managed. So, 2-3 days, this man finished his functions. He was going back. At that time, I believe they arranged the function at the railway station. And then the Sarpanch of the village gave a lecture saying, "Sir, I'm sorry we could not receive you properly. However, we are very happy to see you off." He didn't mean that they are happy, but he was happy that that function was being done well. So, before you people run out of your patience, I think I'd like to leave whenever you finish.
చిన్న ఇది సార్, అంటే ఏమీ లేదు. గాంధీ emphasized on means
Absolutely.
More than the goods.
See, there is this famous story I forgot to tell you because I want to cut short my lecture. A beggar is asking for alms. I have a big 10 rupee coin in my hand. I get irritated, I throw it at him because I want to hurt him. But he picks it up and goes and has a nice, happy meal. Have I done a good thing or bad thing? He had a meal, no? So it's a good thing. But if you are Gandhiji, you'll say you wanted to hurt him. So it's a bad thing. So as I said, ethics has no definition. You say one thing, I can say what I.
But nowadays we are talking about goals rather than the means. Internationally, nationally, and national level.
But this subject started with the universe. It will not end when the universe ends. Or change.
Namaskar, sir. I am Satyati, faculty in Journalism Department. And how do you see the role of public in improving ethics in governance?
See, it's a very important question. I'm glad you asked it because our job should be to educate the public to ask questions, to empower them about their rights. Now, today, they become very passive. The only questions they can ask are through their representatives, most of whom, unfortunately, have their own agenda. And most of whom got elected because of some other method, not because of this man's vote. So, educating the public to know about their rights, citizens' chapters and things like that, and empowering them with the voice to get up and say, what the hell? And maybe having instruments like recall, like in Sweden, where you can call back a man who is not happy with him, or referendum. Go beyond your MLA, go beyond parliament, go to the public when there's a major issue. So there are some methods by which you can improve. Sure. Shall we go? Yes.
Yeah. So once again, we are very thankful to you, sir. You have raised many important issues, priorities versus options, government, governance, and also temptation and fear are the two enemies of an individual or person. To take a right decision should not be in that. And at the same time, so many aspects have been raised, like finally the consensus, Antaratma Prabodham, అనేది చాలా కీలకం. కాబట్టి మనకు ఇమీడియట్గా తెలిసిపోద్ది ఏది రైట్ లేదు తప్పలేదు. కాకపోతే మనకున్న ఈ ఆశ భయం ఏదో ఉంటుందో అవి మనల్ని నియంత్రిస్తూ ఉంటాయి. అట్లా మనకు ఇబ్బందులు ఏర్పడే అవకాశాలు లేవు. కాబట్టి ఎథిక్స్ ఇన్ గవర్నెన్స్ అనేది ఎంత సంక్లిష్టమైన విషయమో డీల్ చేయడానికి ఒక స్థాయి దాటిన తర్వాత చాలా మెచ్యూరిటీ ఉన్న ఇంటలెక్చువల్స్కు ఇట్స్ నాట్ ఎ బిగ్ థింగ్ బికాస్ దే గో in the right direction with the consensus and also the basic core values of the society and as well as constitution. So thank you very much once again, sir. Before the formal vote of thanks, we have a tradition to extend our felicitations to chief guest, and I request our chief guest today, Dr. Mohan Kanda ji, to accept our token of respect to you, sir. Kindly accept our felicitations.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. I request Dr. Pallavi Kape, in charge EPC, to propose formal vote of thanks, please.
Honorable leadership on the dais and on the level.
A very good afternoon to you all. It's my privilege this afternoon to propose a formal vote of thanks on the occasion of Sri Narasimha Rao Memorial Lecture on Ethics in Governance, organized by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar Open University. At the outset, I would like to express our gratitude to Dr. Mohan Kanda Sir, IAS, member of National Disaster Management Authority, for accepting our invitation to be the chief guest of the day and to grace the occasion and speak on ethics in governance. Thank you, sir, for your wonderful and deep insights on the topic. And your suggestion for introducing the course on ethics in governance will definitely incorporate, sir, in our curriculum, which we are going to revise very shortly. Thank you, sir, for the suggestion. I thank our Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, Professor K. Ramarao, sir, for presiding over the session and being for the constant source of inspiration for organizing several programs in the university. I thank Professor E. Sudharani, Madam, Director, Academic in Charge, for introducing the program and for her valuable message. Thank you, ma'am, for gracing the event. I thank our Registrar, Dr. Avian Reddy, and Director Academic, Professor Ghanta Chakrapani, sir, for their efforts in organizing the event. I take this opportunity to thank the family members of P.V. Narasimha Rao Garu, Sri Shekhar Maramraju Garu, Trustee Swami Ramanand Tirtha, Sri Chandrasekhar Rao Garu, Trustee Swami Ramanand Tirtha, for their gracious presence in the event. I thank PRO branch, EMRRC branch, Computer Center, Engineering branch, and the Graphic unit for all the efforts in organizing the program. Finally, I thank all the directors, teaching and non-teaching staff, family members and well-wishers of Sri P.V. Narasimha Rao Garu, students, invitees, and media friends for gracing the event and making the program a grand success. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you.